What if being rich had less to do with your income and everything to do with your mindset? When most people think of wealthy women, they picture high-powered executives, influencers dripping in designer handbags, or trust fund heiresses living it up on yachts. But the truth? The majority of financially successful women don't fit that stereotype at all. They're not chasing luxury or living beyond their means. They're intentional, they're strategic, and they're quietly building wealth by making smart, values-based choices with their money every single day. That's the powerful message at the heart of Smart Women Finish Rich by David Bach. Through decades of financial advising and coaching, Bach discovered that real financial freedom has nothing to do with earning six figures or marrying into money. It's about taking control, aligning your spending with your values, and putting your money to work no matter where you're starting from. This book isn't just for Wall Street types or financial nerds. It's for women who feel overwhelmed by money and don't know where to begin. Moms who want to raise kids with financial confidence. Entrepreneurs who want to turn income into independence. Anyone who's tired of the paycheck-to-paycheck grind and is ready for more. In this summary, we'll break down the most life-changing lessons from Smart Women Finish Rich. From automating your savings to using the Latte Factor, to creating a financial plan rooted in what really matters to you. You'll learn how to set up a system that doesn't just build wealth, but builds peace of mind. So if you've ever felt like managing money was too hard, too late, or just not for you, this book is about to change that. Ready to take control of your money, your goals, and your future? Let's dive in. Introduction: Why Smart Women Are Taking Control of Their Financial Futures. Before diving into the 8 steps, David Bach opens Smart Women Finish Rich with a powerful message. This book isn't just about dollars and cents. It's about freedom, confidence, and the ability to live life on your terms. The introduction sets the tone for everything that follows. It's a rallying cry for women to stop waiting, stop doubting, and start making money work for them today. Bach begins by acknowledging something millions of women feel, but rarely say out loud. Money can be overwhelming. It's not because women aren't smart enough to manage it. It's because they've been left out of the conversation for too long. Think about it. For generations, financial advice was written by men for men. Magazines, banks, TV shows, they all targeted guys in suits. Meanwhile, women were often told to let their husbands handle the finances. And even today, many women earn less, take more time off for caregiving, and live longer, all of which put them at a disadvantage financially. But here's the truth Bach wants every woman to hear. You have more power than you think. Women now control more than 50% of the wealth in America, and that number is growing every year. Women are starting businesses faster than men, graduating college at higher rates, outliving men by an average of 5 years, more likely to be the family's chief financial decision maker. So why do so many women still feel unsure about money? Because no one taught them how to feel confident with it. Bach shares how he discovered this gap firsthand. He was hosting a seminar in the 1990s called Finish Rich, and one evening a woman approached him after the event and said, "This is great, but why don't you do this for women?" That question hit him like a lightning bolt. As he looked around the room, he realized most of the attendees were men. And yet, in his financial advisory practice, some of his smartest, most responsible clients were women. Women who were managing their families, careers, and budgets with incredible skill, but who lacked long-term confidence and tools when it came to investing and planning. That moment sparked the idea for Smart Women Finish Rich. In the introduction, Bach also shares story after story of women just like you. Not celebrities or CEOs, but everyday women who made small changes that led to big results. a divorced mom who started saving $50 per month and built a six-figure retirement. A 23-year-old assistant who automated her savings and bought her first home by 30. A widow who took control of the family finances for the first time at age 62 and thrived. These aren't fairy tales. They're proof that the system works, and it's built for anyone willing to take the first step. Bach emphasizes that this book is not about becoming obsessed with money. It's about using money as a tool to live a richer, more fulfilling life. That might mean having the freedom to leave a toxic job, or take a sabbatical, or send your kids to college without crushing debt, or donate to a cause you believe in, or retire early, or just sleep peacefully at night, knowing you're secure. One of the most empowering ideas introduced here is this: you don't have to be perfect to be rich. You just have to be committed. So many women avoid dealing with money because they're afraid of doing it wrong. They think, I'm not good with numbers, or I'm terrible at investing, or it's too late for me. Bach calls out these fears and smashes them. He explains that being good with money isn't about math. It's about habits and mindset, and he promises that by the end of this book, you will have the tools to know exactly where you stand financially, create a clear plan for the future, get out of debt and stay out, build real wealth even if you're starting from scratch. He also acknowledges the emotional side of money. Women don't just want to know how much they have. They want to know what their money means. That's why this book starts with values, because when you align your spending with what matters most to you, financial planning becomes inspiring, not intimidating. The introduction also touches on why now is the perfect time to start. Whether you're 25 or 65, employed or unemployed, single, married, or divorced, there's never been a better moment to take control. The tools have never been more accessible. The knowledge has never been more widespread, and the urgency has never been greater. Bach encourages women to let go of shame, guilt, and fear. If you've made mistakes, join the club. If you feel behind, you're not alone. What matters is that you're ready to move forward. The past is a lesson, not a life sentence. Here are a few key lessons from the introduction. You can start today, no matter your age or income. Small actions create big results over time. Money is emotional, and that's okay. Confidence comes from clarity. You don't need a man, a degree, or a big salary to become financially free. Your financial power is already inside you. This book helps you unlock it. Bach ends the introduction with a promise and a challenge. He promises that if you read the book and do the work, you will change your life. Not someday, not when the kids are grown or when I make more money, but now, today. And the challenge? Don't just read this book, use it. Take notes, take action, share it with a friend, start conversations, make moves, because smart women don't just work hard. They don't just sacrifice and save, they finish rich, and so can you. Chapter 1. Learn the facts and myths about your money. When it comes to money, most of us grow up surrounded by stories. Some are true. Most, unfortunately, are myths, deeply ingrained cultural beliefs that shape how we see money, how we manage it, and whether we believe we're even capable of building wealth in the first place. And for women, the financial myths are even more dangerous because they often come wrapped in outdated gender roles and generational fear. That's why the very first step in Smart Women Finish Rich is this: start by rewriting the story you've been told about money. The chapter kicks off with David Bach sharing a simple but powerful truth. You don't have to be rich to take control of your money. You just have to be smart. That idea alone is freeing. Because for decades, women have been told they're either not good with money or that managing finances is someone else's job. Maybe it's your husband's job, or a banker's job, or some Wall Street guy in a suit, but certainly not yours. Bach makes it clear, Those days are over. One of the myths he immediately busts is the idea that money is a man's world. Historically, sure, men were the breadwinners and handled the finances, but times have changed. Today, women control over 50% of personal wealth in the U.S., and that number is growing fast. Women are starting businesses at twice the rate of men. They're graduating from college at higher rates. They're outliving men and often end up in charge of the money anyway, whether they planned for it or not. So the question isn't if you'll deal with money, it's when. And wouldn't you rather be ready? The book introduces a few real-life stories of women who turned their financial lives around, ordinary women who felt stuck, scared, or overwhelmed, but chose to take small, consistent steps toward security. One woman started with a checking account and a dream. Another began investing in her 40s after a divorce. These stories make it clear you don't have to be perfect. You just have to begin. Another common myth tackled here is that you need a lot of money to start building wealth. Bach argues again and again that this just isn't true. What matters is not how much you start with, it's how consistently you show up. Saving $5 a day might not seem like much, but compounded over decades, it can become hundreds of thousands of dollars. The key is starting early and staying consistent. The power isn't in the amount, it's in the habit. Let's talk about fear, because that's another major theme in this chapter. Many women, even those who are successful in their careers, are secretly terrified of money. They're afraid of making mistakes, afraid they'll lose it all, afraid they're too far behind to catch up. Bach doesn't shy away from this. Instead, he brings it into the light. He encourages women to ask themselves, what am I really afraid of? Is it not having enough? Is it ending up alone? Is it being dependent on someone else? He shares that one of the biggest fears women have is becoming what he calls a bag lady. The idea that no matter how well you're doing now, you could lose everything and end up homeless, alone, and broke. It sounds extreme, but it's a fear many women secretly carry. It's not rooted in logic, it's emotional, and until we name it, we can't tame it. This chapter is about flipping the script. Instead of being paralyzed by fear, Bach encourages women to use that fear as fuel, to let it motivate them to learn, to act, to grow. He believes that financial education is a form of empowerment. The more you understand your money, the less scary it becomes. And the more confident you feel, the more control you take. He introduces the idea of the finish rich philosophy, which isn't about having yachts or private jets. It's about having financial independence. It's about having choices. It's about being able to retire comfortably, take care of your family, give back to causes you care about, and sleep well at night because you know you're secure. That's real wealth, and that's the goal. Then comes a powerful reframing. Wealth isn't just about money, it's about values. Bach emphasizes that you must connect your financial goals to what truly matters to you, whether it's travel, freedom, security, your kids' education, or supporting your aging parents. When your money aligns with your values, it becomes meaningful. And meaningful money is much easier to manage, grow, and sustain. Let's break down some of the specific myths the chapter highlights. Myth number 1, I'm not good with numbers. Truth, you don't need to be a math genius to manage money. Most financial success comes from basic habits like saving, budgeting, and investing consistently, not complex equations. Myth number 2, my husband/partner manages the finances, so I don't need to worry. Truth, whether by choice or circumstance, many women end up managing money alone through divorce, death, or separation. Having your own financial foundation is non-negotiable. Myth number 3, I don't earn enough to save or invest. Truth, even small amounts, when saved regularly and invested wisely, can grow into significant wealth. The habit matters more than the dollar amount. Myth number 4, It's too late for me to start. Truth, it's never too late. Some of the most successful transformations happen in midlife and beyond. You can start from wherever you are and still make real progress. This chapter also emphasizes the importance of knowing your numbers. Bach encourages women to get clear on their income, expenses, debts, and assets. This isn't about judgment, it's about awareness, because you can't change what you don't understand. And once you shine a light on your money, it stops being mysterious or scary. He introduces a simple concept called the Finish Rich File Folder System, a basic organizational method that helps women gather all their financial documents in one place: savings, insurance, retirement, wills, etc. Why? Because knowledge is power, and when your financial life is organized, you feel in control. It's like decluttering your closet. Once things are in order, everything gets easier. A particularly empowering section discusses how women are naturally great at managing money. They tend to be more conservative investors, better savers, and more thoughtful spenders. The problem isn't ability, it's access and confidence. Once women are given the tools and knowledge, they thrive. And finally, the chapter ends with a rallying cry. You have the power to change your financial future starting today. Not tomorrow, not when the kids are older, not when you get a raise or meet the right partner. Today. David Bach wants every woman to know you are not alone, you are not behind, and you are not powerless. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to be willing. The rest? That's what the next 7 steps are for. This first chapter plants the seed. It shatters old beliefs and lays the emotional and practical groundwork for everything that follows. Because before you can finish rich, you have to believe that you deserve to. And you do. Chapter 2. Put your money where your values are. What if managing your money wasn't about spreadsheets, guilt, or restrictions, but about aligning your cash with the things that truly light you up inside? That's the core message of Chapter 2. David Bach invites women to rethink money not as a cold, mechanical subject, but as an emotional tool that can serve their purpose and values. This chapter is about connecting dollars to dreams, so your financial plan feels like freedom, not a burden. We begin with one powerful truth. Most people don't have a money problem. They have a clarity problem. They spend money in ways that don't reflect what really matters to them. And that leads to frustration, stress, and a gnawing feeling of emptiness, even when the bills are paid. Bach calls this living out of alignment. You're earning, you're spending, but you're not satisfied. Why? Because your money's not going where your heart is. To help fix this, Bach introduces the Values Circle exercise, a deceptively simple but profound tool. You start by identifying your top 5 values from a master list. Things like family, freedom, creativity, security, adventure, spirituality, love, service, health, learning, or independence. These aren't financial terms. They're personal priorities. Once you name your top values, you look at your spending and ask, is my money flowing toward these things or away from them? Here's an example. Say one of your top values is health, but every month you spend hundreds of dollars on fast food and barely anything on groceries, a gym membership, or self-care. That's financial misalignment. Or maybe you value education, but you're not saving for your kids' college fund, and instead spending mindlessly on things you don't even remember buying. This disconnect slowly chips away at your peace of mind. Bach tells the story of Lisa, a single mother who always felt broke. After doing the Values Circle, she realized her top values were security, freedom, and time with her son. Yet most of her money was going to shopping and takeout. She wasn't budgeting for vacations, savings, or a rainy day fund. Once she got clear on her values, she began cutting out the waste, not because she had to, but because it gave her more of what she actually wanted. Within 6 months, Lisa had an emergency fund, was planning a trip with her son, and felt more in control than ever before. This chapter emphasizes something profound. Money spent on things that don't matter is money stolen from the things that do. That's why Bach doesn't believe in strict budgets. Instead, he teaches value-based spending. When your money matches your mission, budgeting becomes a joy, not a punishment. Let's get real. Many of us were taught to view money emotionally, fear, shame, or scarcity. Bach invites women to flip the script and bring intention and power into the picture. He encourages readers to literally track where every dollar goes over the next week and compare that with their values. It can be eye-opening. You might discover you're spending $200 per month on things you don't care about, while shortchanging your goals. The takeaway here isn't to spend less, it's to spend consciously. Spend more on what fills your soul and less on what numbs it. Another important piece in this chapter is about giving. Bach points out that almost every woman he's worked with, no matter her income level, has a deep desire to make a difference. Whether it's supporting a local charity, helping her church, or giving to a cause she believes in, generosity is often a core value. But too often, women feel like they can't give until they're rich. Bach challenges that belief. You don't need millions to make an impact. You can give $10 a month or 1% of your income. What matters is building the habit. Giving doesn't make you poorer, it makes you feel wealthier. He also reminds us that money is never the end goal. It's a vehicle, a tool, a means to an end. That end is determined by your values, and when you lose sight of your values, money becomes a source of confusion and stress. But when you're crystal clear about what matters, every dollar becomes a vote for the life you want. The chapter also addresses a common excuse, but I don't have enough to prioritize values. Bach gently pushes back. Everyone has something, and even if you're starting small, starting is what counts. Reallocating $100 a month away from clutter and toward your dreams changes your energy. You feel empowered, you feel aligned. Let's break this down into a few core lessons. Money is emotional. It's not just math, it's meaning. When you connect your spending to your values, everything changes. Clarity creates confidence. When you know what you care about most, decisions get easier. Conscious spending is the new budgeting. Focus on value-based choices, not restriction. Giving creates abundance. Even small acts of generosity build a sense of wealth. Tracking is truth. Knowing where your money goes is the first step to aligning it with your values. Bach also shares the story of Angela, a high-powered executive who felt like she was always chasing the next thing. Her values circle revealed that what she craved most was peace, creativity, and time for herself. She had the money but no joy. Once she aligned her finances with her values, she started painting again, took a sabbatical, and even downsized her home to simplify her life. The result? She didn't just feel richer, she felt fulfilled. This chapter reminds us that you are the CEO of your own life, and your money is the employee. It should be working for you, not running the show. You don't need more money to feel secure. You need a better relationship with the money you already have. By the end of Chapter 2, you realize something big. Your financial plan shouldn't look like anyone else's. It should be as unique as your fingerprint, built on your values, your dreams, and your version of a rich life. And the best part? You get to decide what that looks like. So the next time you reach for your wallet, ask yourself, is this purchase supporting my values or sabotaging them? That single question can change your life. Chapter 3. Figure out where you stand financially and where you want to go. Before you can build wealth, before you can even make solid decisions with your money, you need to know exactly where you are standing. That's what Chapter 3 is all about: getting real, getting clear, and mapping out your starting point. Think of it like using GPS. If you don't know your current location, you can't possibly chart a path to where you want to go. And when it comes to money, most people are either avoiding the truth or too overwhelmed to face it. David Bach makes this step feel doable, even empowering. He begins with an essential wake-up call. You can't make good financial choices in a fog. Most people have no idea what they actually earn, spend, owe, or own. And yet, they make decisions every day about spending, saving, debt, retirement, and even quitting jobs based on assumptions. Bach calls this financial vagueness syndrome. The cure? A financial snapshot. Let's start with the basics. How much do you really make? You'd think this would be obvious, but it's surprising how many people don't know their actual take-home pay. They might know their salary, but not what hits their bank after taxes, insurance, and retirement deductions. Bach encourages you to write it down. Not just your gross income, but your net monthly income. That's the number you can actually use to plan your life. Next comes the tough part. How much do you spend, and on what? This is where the fog gets thick. Many people spend money without really tracking it, and those daily $5 coffees, Target runs, or food delivery bills sneak up quickly. Bach introduces a simple tool, the Finish Rich Inventory Planner. It's a worksheet designed to help you list every expense: housing, utilities, transportation, groceries, entertainment, subscriptions, debt payments, and more. No guesswork, just facts. This isn't about guilt, it's about awareness. One woman featured in the book was convinced she didn't earn enough to save, but after filling out her planner, she realized she was spending over $400 a month on eating out and impulse buys. That's nearly $5,000 a year. Money she could be using to build an emergency fund or invest in a Roth IRA. When she saw the truth in black and white, it clicked. She wasn't underpaid, she was just uninformed. Then comes the next major piece. What do you own? This is your list of assets: bank balances, investment accounts, home equity, cars, jewelry, and anything else of value. Again, most people underestimate what they have or don't think of things like a 401k as real money. But it is. And knowing your assets helps you see your financial potential. And of course, we can't forget debt. Credit cards, student loans, auto loans, medical bills, personal loans. It's all got to be on the table. This part might sting a little, especially if you've been avoiding your statements. But facing debt is the first step to defeating it. Bach reminds readers that debt is not a character flaw, it's a financial issue. And it can be fixed with a plan. Once you've listed your income, expenses, assets, and debts, you'll be able to calculate two critical numbers: your net worth. That's everything you own minus everything you owe. It's your financial scorecard. And while it may not be pretty right now, the goal is to grow this number over time. Your monthly cash flow, that's what's left after you subtract your monthly expenses from your monthly income. If the number is positive, great. You have money to save or invest. If it's negative, you're overspending and need to adjust fast. At this point in the chapter, Bach introduces a mindset shift. It's not about where you are, it's about where you're going. The financial snapshot tells you where you stand, but it also reveals your opportunities. And that's when things get exciting. Now that you know where you are, it's time to ask, where do you want to go? This part is all about setting goals, real, clear, emotionally connected financial goals, and not just vague ideas like, I want to be rich or I want to retire someday. Bach pushes readers to get specific. Do you want to pay off $20,000 in student loans in 3 years? Save $10,000 for a down payment? Build a $50,000 emergency fund? Travel the world for 6 months? He encourages you to write down your goals in the present tense, as if they're already happening. I am debt-free and saving $500 a month. I have $25,000 in my emergency fund. I am investing 15% of my income for retirement. Why present tense? Because it trains your brain to start seeing these goals as real, achievable, and urgent. This is more than a financial exercise. It's a motivational tool. Your money starts working for your future self. One woman featured in the book set a goal to retire by 60 with $1 million in her 401k. She was 40 and had only $40,000 saved. That felt impossible until she ran the numbers. By maxing out her 401k contributions and getting the employer match, combined with compound growth, she could hit her goal with a few lifestyle tweaks. What felt like a dream suddenly looked like a plan. This chapter also dives into visualization. Bach suggests creating a vision board or a digital folder filled with images that represent your financial dreams, your ideal home, vacation, debt-free life, or philanthropic goals. Why? Because visuals keep you emotionally connected to your why. They turn abstract numbers into meaningful milestones. And of course, no planning is complete without timelines. Bach encourages setting short-term, 1 to 2 years, mid-term, 3 to 5 years, and long-term, 10+ years goals. This structure helps prioritize what to focus on first, while keeping the big picture in view. Let's review the key takeaways from this chapter. Know your numbers. You can't build wealth without knowing where your money is going. Track everything. Income, spending, assets, and debt must be written down, not guessed. Calculate your net worth and cash flow. These two numbers will guide your progress. Set SMART goals. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goals fuel action. Write your goals in present tense. Train your mind to see them as real. Visualize your dream life. Stay emotionally connected to your why. Break goals into timelines. Tackle what matters now, next, and later. Bach wraps the chapter with a powerful reminder. Most people spend more time planning a vacation than planning their financial future. And that's not because they don't care, it's because they've never been shown how. But once you take this step, once you see your financial life on paper, everything changes. You feel empowered, not afraid. You feel curious, not overwhelmed. And best of all, you now have a compass. You know your starting point, and you know your destination. From here on out, every dollar has a direction. Every action has a purpose. You're not just making money, you're building a life. Chapter 4. Use the power of the Latte Factor. Imagine walking into your favorite coffee shop every morning and dropping $5 on a latte. It seems harmless, maybe even a treat. After all, you've earned it, right? But what if that simple, daily habit, multiplied over weeks, months, and years, was quietly robbing you of hundreds of thousands of dollars? That's the eye-opening concept behind the Latte Factor, and it's at the heart of Chapter 4. David Bach introduces the Latte Factor with a question that stops people in their tracks. What if you could become rich without changing your income, just by changing how you spend small amounts of money? Most of us assume we're not saving because we don't make enough. But the truth? We're leaking money in small, unnoticed ways every day. And that leak is what's keeping us broke. To bring this point home, Bach tells the story of Zoe, a 27-year-old New Yorker who works in publishing. She doesn't think she can afford to save. Her rent is high, her salary is modest, and life in the city isn't cheap. But after sitting down with a financial planner, she's asked to track every dollar she spends for 1 week. What she finds is shocking. Over $11 a day is going to small, habitual purchases. Coffee, muffins, magazines, takeout lunches. Nothing extravagant, nothing she thought was a big deal. But when totaled, That's $330 a month, nearly $4,000 a year. And here's where the magic happens. Bach shows that if Zoe were to take just $5 a day and invest it with a 10% average annual return, she'd have over $948,000 in 40 years. That's almost $1 million, all from lattes. This is the power of the Latte Factor. It's not about blaming coffee. It's about recognizing that small, unconscious spending habits are the silent killers of wealth. And once you become conscious of them, you gain the power to redirect that money toward your future. Let's break it down. The average American spends hundreds of dollars each month on invisible expenses. Things like snacks, subscriptions they forgot about, Uber rides, extra streaming services, or impulse buys at Target. These don't seem harmful in the moment, but over decades, they're wealth in disguise. Bach isn't saying you should never have fun. In fact, he's big on enjoying life. What he's saying is, choose what you love and cut what you don't. If lattes genuinely bring you joy, keep them. But find your own Latte Factor, that daily expense that doesn't truly align with your values, and redirect it. For one person, it might be daily vending machine snacks. For another, it's unused gym memberships. The point is awareness. Here's how to find your Latte Factor in 3 simple steps. Track your spending for 1 week, every single expense. Yes, even the $2 gum. Highlight the small habitual purchases. These are the expenses you don't think about but repeat daily or weekly. Ask, does this bring me lasting value? Could this money go towards something bigger? This simple exercise creates financial mindfulness. You begin to see money as a tool, not just a flow. Every dollar you reclaim is a soldier in your wealth-building army. Bach also shares the story of an older woman named Helen, a school teacher who thought it was too late for her to start saving. She was 55, divorced, and had very little set aside. But after discovering her Latte Factor, $10 a day on snacks, drinks, and magazines, she started investing that amount instead. Over 15 years, her savings grew to over $100,000. It wasn't magic, it was math and consistency. The brilliance of the Latte Factor is that it shows you don't need a big raise or side hustle to start investing. You just need a shift in how you spend. It proves that wealth isn't about deprivation, it's about intention. And to those who say $5 doesn't matter, Bach delivers a truth bomb. It's never about the $5. It's about the habit behind it. If you can't manage $5 a day, how will you manage $500 or $5,000? Financial discipline starts small, and those small wins compound. Speaking of compounding, this is where the Latte Factor becomes a rocket. Bach walks you through how investing small amounts regularly, over time, grows into serious money thanks to compound interest. It's not linear, it's exponential. Let's say you start saving and investing $150 a month at age 25. By age 65, assuming an average 10% annual return, you'd have around $1.05 million. That's with no raises, no windfalls, just $5 a day. But wait until 35, you'll only have about $379,000. That's a $670,000 difference just for waiting 10 years. That's the cost of delay and the gift of starting now. So, what do you do with this newfound insight? Bach recommends automating your Latte Factor savings. That means setting up a recurring transfer of $5 to $10 a day into a high-yield savings account or investment account, using an app to round up your purchases and save the difference, or simply carrying less cash and directing those funds to your Future You fund. Automation is key because willpower fades, but systems don't. When your savings happen automatically, you remove friction, and that's what builds momentum. Another important piece of this chapter is emotional empowerment. Once women realize that they can build wealth with what they already earn, something shifts. They stop feeling helpless. They stop waiting for a better job, a bonus, or a partner. They take the reins now. Bach also emphasizes that the Latte Factor is just a starting point. It's about building a wealth mindset. Once you've taken control of small daily expenses, you gain the confidence to tackle bigger goals, like maxing out your 401k, investing in real estate, or building a business. Let's recap the core takeaways of Chapter 4. Small daily habits shape your financial future. You're probably spending more than you think on invisible items. The Latte Factor helps you find money in your existing budget. Redirecting just $5 a day can lead to over $1 million in savings over time. Compound interest rewards early and consistent action. Automation makes saving effortless. Financial freedom begins with awareness. This chapter doesn't just give you a tactic, it gives you a shift in identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who's bad with money or not ready. Instead, you become someone who's actively building wealth. One small, powerful decision at a time. Because here's the truth, it's not the big wins that build your future. It's the quiet, consistent choices you make every day. Your wealth is hiding in plain sight. And now you know where to look. The latte is just the beginning. Chapter 5. Practice Grandma's 3-basket approach to financial security. Picture this. You're sitting at your grandmother's kitchen table. She's got flour on her apron, a pot of tea on the stove, and she's breaking down life and money in the simplest terms possible. No spreadsheets, no stock tips, just common sense that hits you like gospel. That's exactly the vibe of Chapter 5. David Bach introduces a time-tested, no-nonsense method he calls Grandma's 3-basket approach, a system for organizing your money so you always know where it's going and what it's doing. And the best part? It works whether you're earning $25,000 a year or $250,000. The concept is simple. To be financially secure, your money should be divided into 3 baskets, each with a specific purpose. These baskets help you manage your present, prepare for the unexpected, and build your future. Think of them like jars in your kitchen. One for survival, one for safety, and one for your dreams. Let's unpack each one. Basket 1, the security basket. This is the most urgent basket. It holds your emergency fund, health insurance, disability insurance, life insurance, legal documents, and anything else that protects you and your family from financial disaster. Bach calls this your financial seatbelt. It's the thing that keeps you from going through the windshield when life hits a bump like a medical emergency, job loss, or unexpected home repair. He shares a story about Karen, a working mother who had always felt like she was just a paycheck away from a meltdown. She wasn't overspending, but she had no buffer, no savings, no insurance. Then her husband was in a car accident and they were wiped out financially. That moment became her wake-up call. She used the 3-basket approach to rebuild. First came the emergency fund, 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. Then came disability insurance and life insurance to protect her kids. Today, Karen sleeps better at night, not because she's rich, but because she's secure. Bach emphasizes this. Financial security is not about how much you make, it's about how well you're protected. Basket 2, the retirement basket. This one's all about the long game. It's where your 401k, IRA, Roth IRA, pension, or other retirement investments live. The goal here isn't just to stop working, it's to retire with freedom and dignity. Here's the truth. Most women will outlive their spouses. Many will spend the last 20 to 30 years of life alone, and they'll be financially responsible for themselves. Bach calls this the 80% reality. Because 80% of men die married and 80% of women die single. It's sobering. And it makes retirement planning non-negotiable. He urges women to pay themselves first. That means treating your retirement contributions as a bill, like rent or groceries, something that gets paid automatically and without question, even if it's just $50 a month, because the earlier you start, the more powerful compound growth becomes. He gives a stunning example. If a woman starts investing $2,000 a year at age 25 and stops at age 35, she'll end up with more money at 65 than someone who starts at 35 and invests $2,000 a year until 65. Why? Because time is the secret sauce. The earlier your money starts working, the less you have to contribute to get to the same place. This basket is where discipline and patience win. It's not flashy, it's not sexy, but it's what separates the financially free from the financially trapped. And Bach offers clear rules. Always contribute enough to your 401k to get the employer match. That's free money. Max out your Roth IRA if you qualify. The money grows tax-free. Review your investment options annually. Don't just set it and forget it. Set it, automate it, and adjust when needed. Basket 3, the Dream Basket. Now here's where things get exciting. This basket is for your dreams, desires, and passions, the stuff that makes life sweet. It might be a trip to Paris, starting your own business, sending your kids to college debt-free, or buying a second home in the mountains. The Dream Basket is often neglected, especially by women, because it feels selfish or frivolous. But Bach argues it's absolutely essential. Why? Because when you stop dreaming, you start settling, and life becomes all about survival, not joy. He tells the story of Maria, a 42-year-old nurse who always wanted to open her own bakery, but she kept pushing it off. Life got in the way. After doing the 3-basket exercise, she realized she hadn't put a single dollar toward that dream in over 10 years. So she started small, $100 a month into a dream fund. 3 years later, she opened a small side business selling cupcakes at local markets. And guess what? That dream lit her up more than anything she'd done in years. Dreams matter. They're not optional. They're fuel. To build this basket, open a separate savings account just for your dream. Name it something exciting. Paris 2027, New Business Fund, or My First Cabin. Automate your contributions, no matter how small. Celebrate the milestones. When you hit $1,000, take a photo. When you hit $5,000, treat yourself. Because saving for your dreams reminds you that money isn't just for paying bills, it's for building a life that lights you up. Putting it all together, once you understand the 3 baskets, the question becomes, how much should go into each? There's no perfect formula, but Bach offers a general rule. Security basket. This gets funded first. Build your emergency fund and insurance coverage. Retirement basket. This gets funded consistently, every month, no exceptions. Dream basket. This gets a portion of what's left, enough to keep you motivated and excited. And here's the beauty. You don't have to fund them equally or all at once. The goal is progress, not perfection. As long as money is flowing into each basket, you're winning. This system gives your money structure direction and purpose. No more random spending, no more feeling lost. You know where every dollar is going and why. Let's recap the key takeaways. Basket 1, security. Protect yourself with savings and insurance. Basket 2, retirement. Invest for the future you. Basket 3, dreams. Save for the life you want to live. Each basket serves a different purpose, but all 3 are essential. And the beauty of the system is its simplicity. You don't need a finance degree. You don't need a 6-figure salary. You just need a plan and the discipline to stick to it. By the end of the chapter, something clicks. Money isn't just about survival or strategy. It's about balance, about building a life that's secure, sustainable, and soul-nourishing. And just like Grandma used to say, a little bit in each basket adds up to a whole lot of peace of mind. Chapter 6. Raise Smart Kids to Finish Rich. Money is one of the most important life skills a child can learn, and yet it's one of the least taught. In Chapter 6, David Bach zeroes in on a mission many women hold close to their hearts, raising children who are not just good people, but financially smart, independent, and secure. Because let's be real, what's the point of getting your financial house in order if the next generation is going to start from scratch, make the same mistakes, and live paycheck to paycheck? This chapter is both practical and emotional. It's not just about teaching kids how to balance a checkbook. It's about instilling values, building confidence, and giving children the tools to live with freedom, not fear when it comes to money. Bach starts with a core truth. Your kids are watching you. They're soaking up your attitudes about money every day. If they see you stressed, avoidant, or overspending, they absorb those habits, whether you talk about it or not. So the first step to raising smart kids financially? Be a financial role model. Your behavior with money teaches more than any lecture. He shares a story about a woman named Julia, a single mom who worked 2 jobs to keep things afloat. She rarely talked to her teenage son about money, but she always made sure he had what he needed, even if it meant going into debt. When she finally sat down and explained why she was working so hard and what it really cost to support them, her son had a light bulb moment. He stopped asking for $200 sneakers. He started helping with budgeting. That single conversation changed everything. Bach stresses that financial honesty, age-appropriate, is key. You don't need to dump every worry on your kids, but shielding them completely is a missed opportunity. Teaching them what things cost, how bills are paid, and how savings work gives them a practical foundation they'll use for life. So what exactly should you teach your kids, and when? Bach breaks it down by age, ages 5 to 10, the basics of money. Start with allowance, not as a handout, but as a tool for learning. Teach the concept of saving, spending, and giving by using 3 jars or envelopes. Let them make decisions and mistakes. If they blow their allowance on candy and regret it, great. That's the lesson. Use everyday experiences like shopping or paying bills as teachable moments. The goal at this stage isn't to build perfect financial habits. It's to make money a normal, open topic. Kids who talk about money early grow up more confident handling it. Ages 11 to 17. Responsibility and earning. This is the perfect time to introduce budgeting and goal setting. Have them earn money, babysitting, chores, or part-time jobs, and decide how to manage it. Open a savings account in their name. Let them see interest grow, even if it's small. Talk about credit cards and debt before they're tempted to use them. Introduce the concept of investing. Even if they don't start yet, just planting the seed matters. Bach tells the story of Mark, a 16-year-old who started investing $50 a month in a mutual fund with his parents' guidance. By the time he graduated college, he had $5,000 saved. Not only did it help him avoid student loans, it gave him a confidence boost most 22-year-olds never experience. Ages 18 to 25. Launching into independence. This is where financial adulthood kicks in and the stakes get higher. Talk about credit scores, student loans, insurance, and 401ks. Encourage them to open a Roth IRA with their first job. Help them build a basic budget and track their spending. Talk about career planning and value-based choices. It's not just about chasing a paycheck, it's about aligning income with their lifestyle goals. Here's where Bach drops one of the most important reminders in the whole book. If your kids don't learn about money from you, They'll learn it from the world, and the world, aka marketers, influencers, and credit card companies, is not looking out for their best interest. Bach urges women to normalize money conversations at the dinner table, in the car, and during everyday life. These talks shouldn't be scary. They should be empowering. Ask your kids, what would you do with $1,000? What does being rich mean to you? If you had to live on half your current income, what would you cut? These questions build critical thinking, and they show your kids that money is a tool they can control, not something that controls them. Another powerful theme in this chapter is breaking the cycle of financial dysfunction. Many women grew up in homes where money was a source of stress, secrecy, or even shame. Bach gently encourages mothers to stop that pattern with their generation. By teaching your kids to feel confident, curious, and capable about money, you're giving them one of the greatest gifts imaginable. He also addresses single moms and lower-income families. You don't need wealth to teach wealth-building habits. Even if you're struggling, you can model budgeting, saving, and smart choices, and your kids will remember that. A core tool in this chapter is what Bach calls the family bank. It's a simple savings system where kids can borrow money from mom or dad for something they really want, with the agreement they'll pay it back. No interest, no penalties, just accountability. It teaches that money has value and that borrowing always comes with responsibility. He also recommends a parent match plan, similar to a company 401k. If your child saves $100, you match it. It creates a savings incentive and turns building wealth into a game. Plus, it strengthens the parent-child bond through shared goals. Let's review the key takeaways from Chapter 6. Start early. Kids can learn about money as soon as they can count. Model what you want them to learn. Your habits are more powerful than your words. Make money conversations normal, not taboo. Let kids see how money works. Use age-appropriate tools, jars for kids, budgets, and IRAs for teens and young adults. Teach through experience. Allowance, jobs, investing, all hands-on learning. Break generational money trauma. Your kids deserve better. Use systems like the family bank and parent match to teach real lessons. Bach ends this chapter with a heartfelt reminder. Raising smart kids to finish rich isn't about raising future millionaires. It's about raising people who feel in control of their lives. People who know how to earn, manage, and give with confidence. People who aren't afraid of money and who use it to create meaning, not just survival. And yes, it starts with you. Your own journey toward financial freedom is the blueprint your kids will follow, whether they realize it or not. So if you're doing the work, learning, saving, and growing, you're not just changing your life, you're changing theirs too. Chapter 7. The Miracle of Compound Interest. What if I told you that there's a financial force so powerful it can turn a few dollars a day into $1 million fortune, that it works quietly, automatically, and gets better the longer you wait? In Chapter 7, David Bach reveals this secret, and it's not magic, it's called compound interest. Einstein famously called it the eighth wonder of the world, and once you understand how it works, you'll never look at money the same way again. This chapter is a wake-up call, not in a scary, overwhelming way, but in an eye-opening, why didn't anyone teach me this sooner kind of way. Because the truth is, most people grossly underestimate how much their money can grow over time. And that misunderstanding causes them to delay saving and investing, sometimes for decades. The result? They miss out on what Bach calls the miracle. Let's break it down in the simplest terms. Compound interest means you earn interest not just on your original money, but also on the interest it earns over time. It's growth on growth. A snowball that starts small but builds momentum. At first, it seems slow, but then, boom, it explodes in size. Bach introduces us to Jackie and Sarah, two women who illustrate the power of compound interest. Jackie starts investing at age 25. She puts away just $2,000 a year for 10 years, then stops. That's a total of $20,000 invested. She never adds another dime. Sarah, on the other hand, waits until age 35 to start investing. She contributes $2,000 a year until age 65. That's $60,000 total. Now, guess who ends up with more money? Jackie does. Even though she invested for only 10 years, compared to Sarah's 30, Jackie ends up with more money in the end. Why? Because her money had more time to compound. The lesson is clear. When it comes to building wealth, time matters more than the amount. Bach drills this point home with real numbers. If you invest $10 a day, about $300 per month, starting at age 25. By age 65, you could have over $1.8 million, assuming a 10% return. Wait until age 35, that number drops to about $684,000. Wait until age 45, just $243,000. Same money, different timelines, totally different outcomes. The takeaway, the earlier you start, the easier it is. You can put away less and still end up with more. Compound interest is like planting a tree. The sooner you plant it, the more time it has to grow and bear fruit. But what if you're already behind? Bach says, don't panic. The second best time to plant a tree is now. The miracle of compounding still works. It just means you might need to save a little more or work a little longer. The key is not to give up, because late is still better than never. This chapter also takes on some of the emotional blocks people have when it comes to investing. It's too complicated. I don't know where to start. What if I lose it all? Bach counters these fears with simplicity. You don't need to be a financial expert. You don't need to time the market. And you definitely don't need to check the stock market every day. What you need is a consistent plan. He introduces the concept of automatic investing, setting up a system where money is taken from your paycheck or checking account and invested in a retirement fund or mutual fund automatically every month. No willpower required, no guesswork, just momentum. This system works because it removes the biggest barrier to building wealth: human behavior. Left to our own devices, we tend to spend first and save what's left, if anything. But when you flip the formula and pay yourself first, you guarantee progress. Here's what Bach recommends. Contribute to your 401k at work, especially if there's a match. It's free money. If you don't have a 401k, open a Roth IRA. The money grows tax-free. Automate contributions. Even $100 per month is a game changer. Increase your contributions by 1% each year. You won't even feel it, but your future self will thank you. Bach also tackles a common myth that investing is only for the rich. He's adamant it's for everyone. Wealthy people didn't wait until they were rich to invest. They became rich because they invested. The miracle of compound interest is the great equalizer. It doesn't care about your background, education, or income level. It rewards those who start early and stick with it. One powerful quote from the chapter: you can't control the stock market, you can't control the economy, but you can control how much you save, how early you start, and whether you stick with it. To illustrate this, Bach shares the story of Angela, a woman in her 50s who was overwhelmed with debt and had almost no savings. She thought she was too late, but instead of giving up, she committed to investing $500 per month into a Roth IRA and cutting unnecessary expenses. By automating her contributions and sticking with her plan, she built over $100,000 in savings in under 10 years. Not bad for someone who thought the ship had sailed. This chapter also breaks down the Rule of 72, a quick way to estimate how long it will take your money to double. Just divide 72 by your annual interest rate. For example, if your investments earn 8% a year, your money will double in about 9 years. If you earn 10%, it'll double in about 7.2 years. This rule shows just how powerful compounding becomes over time. Let's break down the key takeaways from Chapter 7. Compound interest is growth on growth. Your money earns money, and that money earns more money. Time matters more than amount. Start early and stay consistent. Delaying just 10 years can cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. Even small amounts, when invested regularly, grow into real wealth. Automate your savings and investing. Don't rely on willpower. It's never too late to start, but the earlier, the better. Use tools like 401ks, Roth IRAs, and automatic transfers. The rule of 72 helps estimate how long it takes your money to double. Bach closes the chapter with a bold statement. If you truly understand compound interest, you will never look at $5 the same way again. Because that $5 isn't just coffee. It's part of $1 million decision. It's a seed. And when you plant enough seeds, you build a forest. Chapter 7 isn't just about finance. It's about faith in the future. It teaches that the wealthiest people aren't those who win the lottery or inherit a fortune. They're the ones who respect time, value consistency, and let their money grow silently in the background. The miracle of compound interest is available to everyone. The only question is, will you give it time to work its magic? Chapter 8. Follow the 12 commandments of attracting greater wealth. After guiding you through mindset shifts, daily habits, retirement strategies, and teaching your kids about money, David Bach wraps it all up with a bang. Chapter 8 is like the ultimate cheat sheet, a collection of 12 timeless, powerful principles he calls the 12 commandments of attracting greater wealth. These aren't just rules for managing money. They're a complete philosophy for living rich. And not just rich in dollars, but in purpose, peace, and personal power. Let's break each commandment down one by one. Commandment 1, always pay yourself first. This is Bach's cornerstone rule. Before you pay bills, buy groceries, or even think about shopping, you need to save for your future self. Automatically, every paycheck, no exceptions, even 10% of your income is life-changing. Think of it as a financial tithe to yourself. You work hard, you deserve to keep part of it. Commandment 2, don't budget, make it automatic. Most people hate budgeting because it feels like punishment. Bach gets it, so instead, he preaches automation. Set up automatic transfers to your savings, investment, and retirement accounts. Let systems do the heavy lifting. When saving happens behind the scenes, you're free to focus on living. Commandment 3, make your financial plan values-based. Money without meaning is empty. That's why Bach reminds you to align your money with your top 5 values. If you care most about security, freedom, family, and travel, your money should reflect that. Every dollar is a vote for the life you want. Don't let it vote for something you don't care about. Commandment 4, use the Latte Factor. You've already learned this one. Small daily expenses add up. Redirecting just $5 to $10 a day into savings or investments can grow into $1 million over time. The magic isn't in depriving yourself. It's in being mindful. If it doesn't spark joy or serve your values, ditch it and invest the difference. Commandment 5, own a home the smart way. Bach believes in real estate, not just as an investment, but as a forced savings plan. Paying a mortgage builds equity, renting doesn't. But he's clear, don't buy more house than you can afford. Aim to buy with at least 10% down and keep your total housing cost under 30% of your income. Real estate can build wealth, but only if you buy smart. Commandment 6, Maximize your retirement accounts. You've heard this throughout the book, but it bears repeating. Max out your 401k or 403b. Get every employer match. Open a Roth IRA if you can. These accounts grow tax-deferred or tax-free, which means more money in your pocket later. And always, always automate those contributions. Commandment 7. Be an investor, not a speculator. Investing isn't gambling. It's not timing the market or chasing trends. True wealth comes from long-term, consistent investing in diversified portfolios. Bach recommends low-cost index funds, regular contributions, and holding steady, even when the market dips. Your goal isn't to get rich quick, it's to get rich for sure. Commandment 8. Diversify. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. That means spreading your money across different investments, stocks, bonds, real estate, even international funds. Diversification reduces risk and increases stability. Think of it as building multiple income streams that support each other. Commandment 9. Teach your children about money. You've already explored this in Chapter 6, but it's worth anchoring in again. Your kids will learn more from how you act than what you say. Give them allowance. Let them save, spend, give, and even make mistakes. Financial confidence starts at home, and you're the teacher. Commandment 10. Take action now. Procrastination is the enemy of wealth. Bach says it loud and clear. Don't wait until you earn more, until the market's better, or until you feel ready. Start where you are, with what you have, right now. Action creates momentum, and momentum creates results. Commandment 11. Never forget the role of gratitude. This one's unexpected, but essential. Bach shares that gratitude is the fuel behind prosperity. When you appreciate what you already have, you open yourself to receive more. Gratitude keeps you grounded, generous, and focused on abundance, not scarcity. Wealth begins in the heart. Commandment 12. Finish rich. This final commandment is more than a goal. It's a lifestyle. To finish rich means to live a life of purpose, to be financially free, and to have the ability to give, grow, and dream. It means you don't just survive, you thrive. Not just at the end of your life, but starting now. Throughout the chapter, Bach weaves in inspiring stories of real women who lived these commandments. There's Erica, a single mom who used automatic investing and home ownership to become financially independent by 50. Or Olivia, who embraced the Latte Factor, cut out $300 per month in waste, and used it to build a $100,000 dream fund. These aren't millionaires or Wall Street pros. They're everyday women who took these rules seriously and changed their lives. Bach also reminds readers that none of these commandments work in isolation. It's not enough to just save or just invest. True financial freedom comes when you put the whole system in place, automatically, intentionally, and joyfully. And the best part? These commandments are simple. You don't need a finance degree. You don't need to be a numbers person. You just need a plan, some patience, and a willingness to start. Let's recap the key takeaways from Chapter 8. These 12 commandments are the foundation of financial success. Pay yourself first and automate everything. Let your values guide your spending and saving. Use your Latte Factor to uncover hidden wealth. Own a home, but do it wisely. Max out retirement accounts and diversify your investments. Teach your children by example. Take action today, not someday. Live with gratitude and purpose. Finish rich on your own terms. Bach ends the chapter with a personal message to every reader. You have everything you need to live a rich life right now, not someday, not if you win the lottery, but today. Your life, your values, your money, it's all within your control. And that's the essence of Smart Women Finish Rich. You don't need to change who you are. You just need to change how you manage what you already have. because when you do, you won't just finish rich, you'll live rich every step of the way. Bonus chapter: 8 new tax changes you need to know about for 2018 and beyond. In this bonus chapter, David Bach steps away from mindset and habits and dives into something highly practical but equally powerful: taxes. While taxes may not be the most exciting topic, Bach makes a compelling case. Understanding even just a few recent changes to the U.S. tax code can save you thousands of dollars and help you optimize your financial plan. It's about keeping more of what you earn and putting it to better use, whether that's investing for retirement, buying a home, or funding your dreams. This chapter focuses on the impact of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, TCJA, signed into law in late 2017, which brought the biggest overhaul to the U.S. tax code in over 3 decades. And while the law was complex, Bach breaks it down into 8 digestible, actionable updates that every woman and every American taxpayer should understand. 1. Standard deduction doubled. This was one of the most headline-making changes. The standard deduction nearly doubled, from $6,350 to $12,000 for single filers, from $12,700 to $24,000 for married couples filing jointly. What does that mean for you? Most taxpayers no longer need to itemize deductions like mortgage interest or medical expenses because the standard deduction is now higher than what they would get from itemizing. That simplifies filing for millions and saves time and money on tax prep. Takeaway: if you used to itemize, you may no longer need to. That could streamline your finances and let you focus on other priorities. 2. State and local tax, SALT, deduction limited. Before the TCJA, you could deduct all of your state and local taxes, property taxes, income taxes, etc. But now, this deduction is capped at $10,000 total per year. This hit hardest in high-tax states like California, New York, and New Jersey, where property and income taxes often exceed that limit. For some homeowners, it meant higher taxable income and potentially a higher tax bill. Takeaway: if you live in a high-tax state and itemize, you might be losing out. This could factor into decisions about where to live or whether to purchase a home. 3. Mortgage interest deduction changed. Homeowners were also impacted by a major change to the mortgage interest deduction. Under the new rules, interest is only deductible on mortgages up to $750,000, down from the previous limit of $1 million. Existing mortgages taken before December 15, 2017 are grandfathered in under the old limit. Interest on home equity loans is no longer deductible unless the loan was used to improve the home. This discouraged borrowing against your home for things like cars, vacations, or paying off credit cards. Takeaway: home equity loans are no longer a tax-friendly source of cash. If you want to deduct the interest, make sure the funds are used for home improvements. 4. Child tax credit doubled. Families with kids got a huge win. The child tax credit doubled from $1,000 to $2,000 per child, and more families qualify now. The income threshold for eligibility increased to $200,000 for single filers, $400,000 for married couples. Previously, many middle and upper middle class families were phased out. Now, more can claim this credit, and it's worth real cash, not just a deduction. Takeaway: if you have kids under 17, this credit puts serious money back in your pocket at tax time. Don't overlook it. 5. Alimony payments are no longer deductible. For divorces finalized after December 31, 2018, alimony payments are no longer deductible for the payer, and the recipient no longer has to report it as income. This marked a major shift from the past, where payers could deduct alimony, reducing their taxable income. Bach notes that this change should absolutely be considered during divorce negotiations, as it affects both parties' long-term financial picture. Takeaway: if you're going through a divorce or separation, understand how these new rules affect alimony agreements. 6. Medical expense deductions got easier temporarily. For tax years 2017 and 2018, the threshold for deducting medical expenses dropped from 10% to 7.5% of your adjusted gross income, AGI. This made it easier to deduct out-of-pocket medical costs, especially for retirees or those with large healthcare bills. However, this was temporary. Beginning in 2019, the threshold reverted to 10% unless new legislation extended it. Takeaway: if you had high medical expenses in 2017 to 2018, you may have qualified for a deduction you missed. Going forward, keep receipts and track costs in case the threshold drops again. 7. Changes to 529 college savings plans. Previously, 529 savings plans were only allowed for college expenses. Now they can be used for K-12 education as well, up to $10,000 per student per year. This gave parents and grandparents more flexibility to save and plan for private school tuition at the elementary, middle, or high school level. Takeaway: 529 plans are now more versatile. If you plan to send your kids to private school or even want a tax-advantaged way to save for education, take advantage of this. 8. Corporate tax cuts and what they mean for you. Though corporate tax changes may seem like they only benefit big business, Bach explains how lower corporate taxes, reduced from 35% to 21%, can ripple out to individuals. How? Bigger profits may lead to higher stock prices, which help your 401k or IRA. Some companies pass on savings through bonuses or wage increases. Corporate investment in growth could mean more jobs and innovation. While you can't control corporate decisions, this shift reminds you to be invested in the market, because when companies win, so can individual investors. Takeaway: if you're investing in stocks through retirement accounts, corporate tax cuts might indirectly benefit you. Another reason to stay invested. Final thoughts. David Bach wraps up this bonus chapter by driving home a simple point. You don't have to be a tax expert, but you do need to be tax aware. The tax code isn't just about paying, it's also about planning. Knowing how to maximize deductions, leverage tax-advantaged accounts, and adjust your strategy after new laws pass can mean thousands of dollars saved each year. And for women especially, who often outlive spouses and may face solo retirement, every dollar saved matters. So don't ignore taxes. Embrace them as a tool for wealth building. When you plan your taxes with the same care you plan your vacations, your retirement, or your dream home, you finish richer. Because as Bach says, it's not what you make, it's what you keep. And smart women know how to keep more. And that's it. Your complete guide to building a life of purpose, peace, and prosperity. Smart Women Finish Rich isn't just a book about money, it's a movement. One that empowers women to take control of their finances, align their money with their values, and create the freedom to live life on their own terms. Let's recap the key takeaways from this incredible journey. Pay yourself first, because your future should be your first bill, not your last priority. Automate your financial life, so saving and investing happen without stress or second-guessing. Let your values guide your spending, because money without meaning is just noise. Use the Latte Factor. Small daily choices compound into life-changing wealth. Organize your finances with the 3-basket system for security, retirement, and your dreams. Raise financially smart kids so the next generation starts ahead, not behind. Start investing early. because compound interest is the most powerful force in wealth building. Live by the 12 Commandments of Wealth, your personal blueprint for lifelong abundance. But here's the truth, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to get started. Whether you're in your 20s or your 60s, earning 6 figures or starting from scratch, you have what it takes to finish rich. So, what's the first step you can take today? Maybe it's opening that Roth IRA, or finally tracking your spending, or sitting down with your partner or kids to talk about money. Whatever it is, take action now, because the life you want isn't waiting at the end of a paycheck. It starts with the choices you make today. If this message resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it. Talk about it with your friends, your sisters, your daughters. Let's make smart women finishing rich not the exception, but the new norm. And I want to hear from you. What was your biggest aha moment from this book? Drop a comment, leave a review, or tag me on social media and let me know how you're taking control of your financial future. Remember, being rich isn't about having millions. It's about having freedom, security, and choice. And now you have the tools to create all three. You're smart, you're capable, and yes, you will finish rich. See you in the next chapter of your journey.